the rankings are in. I have a graphic prepared here for the top 6.
While you do that, Jim, I'll make a note that I will send you the from the opening of CSI Miami for future puns.
There you go. All right. So we do have a change at the top.
Yes. It's about time.
No, this is actually
no.
Yahoo Sports fucked this graphic up.
4 and 5 is still the same.
Yeah, Yahoo Sports fucked that graphic up. By the way, that's
what? Oh, I was so excited.
Well, I'm grabbing. Well, no, okay. So I can grab this one quick. But the top.
Thank you.
The top 6 sports. Well, okay, I'm grabbing the first thing I can and trying to do this on the fly.
Sports,
fucking ESPN.
There you go.
Which is a general whatever to live by. But your top 6 are Oregon 6, Washington 5, Florida State 4, Michigan 3, Ohio State 2, Georgia 1.
Yay, Florida State, but they got it wrong.
So yeah, so they did make the change at the top.
You did.
Ohio State still too high. Florida State still too high. But yeah.
Hey, we want to keep Florida State in the top 4. Well, everybody's can complain. Well, how do we fix that? Get Ohio State the fuck out of there. Then everybody's forget about the fact we left in 4th. Awesome. By the way, that's a dramatization of the ACC members of the committee, probably.
Probably.
But reaction to the rest of the top 10 outside of the top 6, Texas 7, Bama 8, Missouri 9, Louisville 10. So not a lot of surprise there. Penn State finally out of the top 10, and rightly so.
I mean, and rightly so. Yes.
Look, I'm glad they put Georgia 1. Georgia should have been number 1 this week. Again, I think Michigan should be 2, but again, that'll play itself out.
Michigan should be 1.
Look, as much of a Marge that I am here, when Georgia played the number 9 team in the country and just embarrassed that ass all over CBS Saturday night, I'll give him the edge at 1.
Okay, but
I think it's close.
But what about embarrassing the alleged number 10 team up and down the field? Granted, it doesn't show up in the score, but running the football doesn't score as many points as quickly, and doing it without your goddamn head coach on the sideline. What about that? What about those points?
Here's the deal, man. If you want to put Michigan at 1, I am not going to argue with it.
You just tried to, but
1 and 2 should be Georgia and Michigan. How you slice it? But 1 and 2.
I mean, I think that the thing that this panel is trying to say is fuck Ohio State. That's basically where we're at.
It's always
yeah. I mean, they should be 4 at best. Maybe 3. Maybe 3.
I would give them the edge over FSU. Absolutely.
Okay, but so we have 1 and 2, Georgia, Michigan. Those should be our number 1, number 2. You want to put Michigan at 1, you want to put Georgia at 1, fine either way. Who should be number 3? Washington, Ohio State, or Florida State?
See, I was trying to avoid you asking this question because I'm not prepared to go on record for this there and jinxing this team for all the prediction I've made in August that you're now asking me.
And I'll say it, the correct answer is Washington.
God damn it, the correct answer is fucking Washington.
It's Washington.
They have the better win of any of those teams. Because here's the deal. Here's the deal. Ohio State's 2 wins are against a 2-loss Penn State team and a 3-loss Notre Dame team.
Did that hurt, Jim?
It's reality. I'm just dealing with it, Kyle. Washington's biggest win, is against the number 6 team in the country.
The biggest win in the goddamn year, period.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, show me anyone that has a better win than that. Go ahead. I'll wait. Oh, wait, you can't do it.
Now, must I can't stand Ohio State. Must I can't stand Ohio State. They still deserve a top 4 status. Number 4.
I would put them at 4.
No one's arguing top 4 for or against our top 4 for Ohio State. It's your sorry hatchet humping team that plays more powder puffs than a high school.
I mean, here's the deal. If you want to argue Oregon is better than Ohio State, I'll listen to I'll sit in the judge's seat and I'll listen to the evidence in question.
Well, Jim, it's
unlike Tony fucking Petiti. Anyway,
I see what you did there. By the way, as you wear your green, an appropriate stance to argue for Oregon, I would like to see you lightsaber duel with our Noller here on the panel on how Oregon isn't already better than FSU.
No, the only reason, look, real talk. Who's better team? I would probably take Oregon over Florida State. The record plays though.
The game is over.
Right,
rightly so.
Right. However, Oregon has a loss. Florida State doesn't have a loss.
So what?
Well, you're unbeaten. That's it. That's the only I can say for you.
Okay, the Ric Flair defense doesn't hold up here. If you beat a bunch of 8th graders, you can't say to be the best.
I wouldn't call LSU an 8th grader.
Works.
I wouldn't call LSU an 8th grader, although LSU isn't as impressive now.
First of all, you only got LSU for a half, and second, that was months ago.
Yeah.
I was at that game. I barely remember it. I'm joking, obviously, but it was very fun.
And I mean, and hey, I have heard a very reputable source on the Student of the Game report say that Notre Dame should be ranked higher than LSU. So how good can that win be, right?
True.
I mean,
in fact, I'll go a step further.
Further.
I think Alabama's better than Florida State. So if I hypothetically want to go back, if we're going power rankings like the NFL,
that's what it's supposed to be,
but not really, because the teams
really.
The purpose of the college football playoff rankings is they are supposed to rank in order the best teams in college football. Period. Not who has the best, not who is the group of 5 who has the undefeated record, and then the group of this many who has 1 loss, and then the group, and they can't even get that right. That's even the worst part. But it's not a grouping of undefeateds and 1 loss teams and 2 loss teams and so on. It is supposed to be a 1 to 25 ranking of the 25 best teams in college football. So, if Alabama's better, which maybe that's where I'm drawing the line, because I think Alabama should be above Texas, but I would in a perfect world, I'd like to see Alabama and Florida State play each other to prove who's actually better. Probably going to be Alabama.
By the way, when FSU gets knocked out of the top 4, I'd love to see that bowl game.
And and they probably won't unless they somehow.
The way they're ranking Florida State now, even after what happened on Saturday, tells you that as long as FSU does their job.
That was my point last week.
No, they haven't told us anything, frankly.
I disagree.
What if Louisville jerks off and they're not in the top 10 going into the conference championship? Then what? That is the only reason why FSU is still currently 4.
Right, but so and the committee's told us this most years is that where they have the teams is also where they're going to be if somebody doesn't slip up. Now, obviously, if Louisville slips up, Florida State slips up, then you start to get into some of those hypotheticals. But I think if Louisville stays in the top 10 and Florida State wins the ACC title game against Louisville, I do not see them coming out of that 4th spot.
Well, okay. Well, then the question I asked
out of the top 4
is what took Ohio State out of the top. Whatever. Is it really just Penn State losing a second game? That's all you got?
I think it was Georgia throttling Ole Miss. Georgia played the number 9 team in this ranking last week
and beat the fuck out of them.
Beat the brakes out of them, and they beat the current number 9 team.
I think it's
the week prior.
2 things combined is what I think.
Yeah. So yes, things, but again, we're looking at a top 4. Florida State has not been out of the top 4 in the multiple weeks we've seen these rankings. One of the teams ahead of them will come out. That's a fact. To me, that's a fact.
We've seen bigger surprises, Jim. That's all I'll say. And I'm clinging to hope on
surprises. And I know one of the biggest sightings of that is going to be last year when everything outside of the top 4 imploded in and of itself. I don't see Washington or Oregon losing multiple games. Obviously, you have the Pac-12 title game coming up, but I like Georgia. I don't think is going to lose. Michigan, Ohio State, one of them is going to finish undefeated. Florida State's going to finish undefeated. Washington probably going to finish undefeated. If not, the team that's going to beat them is Oregon. They're going to come up in. Like, I think this.
Well, I think if Oregon wins, they won't be let in.
Depends what happens. Depends how the play shakes out.
Oh, then how the hell does that work? Like, if I don't know. If Washington can't leapfrog FSU, how does Oregon then do that?
I think if Washington wins out and wins the Pac-12, you'll have 2 wins against the top 6 team. I think they do leapfrog Florida
because
State.
It's the same team, and the committee's fucked other teams on this before. Because it's the same team, they won't hold it the proper.
I think the bottom line is that I think
damages Oregon's ranking because they have 2 losses, and then by extension pulls down further Washington. In other words, they actually get penalized for winning a second fucking time.
I think what's clear, though, based on these rankings, is that there's going to be a massive premium on being unbeaten at the end of the rope.
Yes,
if you are unbeaten with no losses, no blemishes,
which is what will hurt.
Get in. Which
is what will hurt Michigan or Ohio State.
Then I don't want to hear anybody else talking shit on UCF and the 2017 team because they were undefeated and no one gave a fuck.
I wish I had let it go on the soundboard.
No,
I think
let it go all you want. Those are still facts.
I feel like
you still have to explain to people that the Kali Matrix exists.
I feel like the only team in the top 4 that might even get a little bit of a leniency if they lose is Georgia. That is it.
If they lose to Alabama and it's close.
If Michigan loses in the conference championship, they're still getting in. I'm calling it.
No, Ohio State. No, I didn't lose that game is out.
No, if the winner of Michigan and Ohio State loses to Iowa, they will not be in the top 4.
I'm not buying because we just saw precedents last year where the loser of a
you're talking about a year when everything below the top 4
losses
gets
grenade bombed. Kyle,
Jim, last year
here's the part I will give you, Marge. With everybody currently hating on Michigan the way that is, it's pretty clear, and Joel Klatt has made this point too, it's pretty clear that the committee is thinking of this as well. So they will not give Michigan any leniency. That's the point I'll buy.
Jim, last year, how many unbeaten teams you had in the top 4 in the last year?
Without
2, 1, if that?
Why don't you do your own fucking research?
No, it was Georgia, and I think.
See, he's still going to make you do it.
Georgia, no, it was Georgia. I actually remember this now. It was Georgia and Michigan was only 2 teams that were unbeaten last year in the playoff 4. Ohio State got in as a 1-loss team.
And so, too, did TCU.
TCU lost in the conference championship game, yes. So there's only 2 unbeaten teams last year in the top 6. This year, you have a situation where you have right now currently 5.
But on the strength of wimpy, sorry, disgusting schedules. The whole reason we got rid of the goddamn BSC was allegedly because of teams skating by with easier schedules.
True.
For example, historically.
But if you're sitting there saying Penn State is overrated, you're sitting there saying Louisville's overrated, then how many good fucking teams do you have in the college football then? There are only 8 good teams in college football?
Okay, you want the answer to that? I can name you 4 teams that belong in the playoff right now, and one of them has a loss.
Oregon.
By the way, I can make a defense of Texas.
So what you're saying? Your top 4 should be Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Oregon.
He did say that.
Is that not what I just said? But moments ago,
it's on the podcast earlier this morning as well. So yeah, to be fair.
# consistency, something you may want to take a lesson on there, EJ Christian.
No, I don't do that.
Obviously not. We've seen full time.
Coming up later.
But see that
later.
But yeah, but like to me, like that's where and maybe I'm putting too much faith in the committee. We'll see.
You with all due respect, Jim, you already know my answer.
As the thing plays out. Well, yeah, but sometimes never mind. I'm not gonna say.
We'll just say more on that later.
Go ahead, Jim. Go ahead.
But so I mean, Georgia almost feels like a lock. I mean, it would have to take some sort of epic collapse over these final 3. But I think because of the schedules of Ohio State's schedule, and they didn't look impressive even in their two biggest wins. I think a loss gets them out of the way. Again, this is assuming that Florida State wins out, that Washington and Oregon end up under one team undefeated, one team, one loss in the Pac-12 title game. Like I really do think that it'll be Georgia, because I think they are going to win out. Winner of Michigan, Ohio State, and the Big Ten, aka Michigan, they'll be 2. And then I think it'll be Florida State and the Pac-12 champion. I do not see this committee, based on the consistency we've seen with them so far, with Florida State holding at 4, the two Pac-12 teams holding at 5 and 6. I think that a Big Ten team that will be sitting at home when another team, particularly because I think the battle, as it seems to be playing out, is going to be the loser of Michigan, Ohio State, or the winner of the Pac-12.
By the way, as a quick side note, if consistency is your defense, then please allow me to quickly, and only as an aside of why I don't buy the consistency argument, Texas's existence still in the spot that it's at after a team that beat them just got whooped by a new incumbent in the Power 5. You do remember that Oklahoma lost the Bedlam game, right? The only loss that Texas has is what? Oklahoma. And Texas was not penalized. So then how was Ohio State knocked out of number 1? Are they rewarding Georgia? Maybe.
Yeah, I think they're rewarding.
That's all it is.
Well,
I think it's complicated.
Okay, then where? I don't know. That's still not enough for me. It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I didn't. Obviously, we're on the air. I didn't have a chance to hear any of the discussion as to why Georgia was moved up.
Oh, I could do a dramatization of the explanation. Wah, 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 wah. Okay, let's move on.
Right.
I think it's simple, honestly. It's Georgia, and that's it.
I'm not mad at Georgia being 1, by the way. I have bigger issues with Michigan being 3, but that's a whole other conversation.
Right. Yeah. But again, that will solve itself next Saturday.
Later.
Is it safe to say that it's a 8-team race at this point now? The demarcation is 8 teams now.
No,
right? It's Texas, Alabama.
I don't think Texas is.
No, I think it is a 5-team race.
6
with no.
You taking Oregon out?
Okay, when I say 5 teams, I mean Pac-12 winner.
Copy.
So theoretically 6 teams, but in reality 5 teams.
Let's do this real quick then. The teams that are below. So obviously Alabama has a path. They beat Georgia. They're in. Obviously, so right? I would assume, right?
Not necessarily.
Here's the
you think so?
I've heard. Here's the theory I've heard about other guys that are in it. You know, sitting around the Jacksonville Jaguar press box at Everbank Stadium. The theory is that should Alabama take down Georgia, they may have effectively eliminated the SEC from the top 4.
Oh. Assuming Florida State wins, assuming
yes.
Big Ten winner.
Yes.
Who am I missing? Pac-12 winner. That's 3.
And then they I know some people that were even trying to give Texas a path. Should Washington lose?
I mean, the problem in the counter argument to Texas is the fact that they have Texas at 7, not Alabama.
Here's the thing, though.
So like that's what the committee's telling us, right?
If Bama has beaten Georgia, that means Texas beat a conference champion to make their way. And now, of course, you're also assuming that Texas can follow through
and win the Big 12, right?
Right.
Right, because if they lose, they're toast.
Now, of course, that's a bullshit argument, in my opinion. But the that's dumb enough for something for the committee to buy.
Right.
At the same time, I can see a scenario where you say both be out. That could be also an opportunity for them to put 2 SEC teams in there now, because if Georgia loses in a close one to Alabama, as I said earlier, Georgia might have a little bit of leniency.
And there's too many good football teams this year to put in a 2-loss team, EJ. That's the only defense against that.
No, not Bama. Georgia loses, I'm saying.
Georgia may still make. I mean, that's what I said.
If Bama wins a close one and other weird things happen,
right?
Then Bama and Georgia could both.
I said that I wasn't laughed out of building. They're like, well, I don't think so, because they were respectful about it. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you, EJ. Like a conference championship.
I would think that on top of Bama winning, you would probably need the Big Ten East winner to lose in the Big Ten title game, and
Or at
probably
least be close. If you're close to an Iowa team, that's a bad look.
Yes, but if with Georgia, I mean, it does get murky.
If all you got to do is leave it in the committee's hands when it's weird, because then at that point it's the Kevin Garnett. Anything,
and they can say that it's an NCAA issue, but maybe if it's Michigan because of all the extracurriculars, if it's a close win over Iowa and Bama beats Georgia, then maybe they go, maybe Michigan doesn't belong here, and goes whoop and just pushes them.
So you guys are saying there's no path for Texas whatsoever?
I'm not.
A quote unquote realistic path, probably not.
They have a Cincinnati's chance.
But right, if the Big Ten winner and Florida State lose, and the Oregon barely beats Washington,
Would you prefer if I had said it? They had a Bearcats chance with that,
and a Texas, and Texas wins the Big 12 title game by 30. I'm not going to say they can't get in, but they probably have the longest shot out of the
path. The path is Alabama winning the conference championship. If they don't, we're not talking about it. Anything else?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's step one.
Because the Bama win.
I think it's more likely for us to see 2 Pac-12 teams, depending on what happens.
Yeah, Devin hits a great point here. So I just want to put this out there. This podcast will never get sponsorship by the Big Ten.
I don't think that's accurate. Michigan may hook us up.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll be contacting Michigan's offices.
Marge.
But yeah, Tony Petiti can take his money and shove it up his ass.